What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Revival. My name is JJ, and I want to know, is it worth it to collect games you're just not into? Alright, so this was just kind of like, I've had like, touched on this a little bit a few times on Pixel Perspective with Adrian. It's just kind of something I think about regularly, like when I'm hunting, or if I'm at a convention or something like that. I know there's plenty of reasons why people collect. For me, it's always typically been about nostalgia. Obviously, you look at my channel, you see I have like gaming memories and things I talk about that, why things mean so much to me and that kind of thing. It all comes down to just games that mean a lot to me because I have a history with them, or it's something I always wanted to check out, or it's a big piece of gaming history. Like, there's a reason why I collect the things that I do. That being said, every now and then I'll still, if possible, I'll pick up a game that I may not necessarily be into. And a perfect example was one of my last videos was the pickups one, where I went to I went to Walmart, and on their clearance shelf they had a whole bunch of like $5 games and stuff, and it was like, I wouldn't normally get these, but they're so dang cheap. And like I said, I love the way Switch games look on the shelf. What's up, buddy? You want to come up and say hi? There he goes. Okay, guess not. Sitting there looking at me like he wants me to grab him. I always get curious if like other people will just collect just to collect. Like, they have those subscription boxes where you get sent random stuff, and I think that's cool because you get to try games you may not have otherwise picked up and whatnot. But as far now, you're just gonna scratch up one of the chairs and you can go upstairs again. That's cool. All right, buddy. I love my cat. He is very much a cat. So it always just like, I find it such a fascinating question because there's so many different avenues and so many different reasons why people collect anything. But obviously, I'm talking about video games. Again, for me, it's nostalgia, memories, all that stuff. But I'm curious, like, what do you guys, do anybody watching this that is a collector, do you just go out and you just like pick up anything that's cheap? Like what I did with the Switch games, like I said, I brought that up as an example. That's not something I do very often, even when they are super cheap like that. I was just kind of like, I'm in the mood to pick up some games, and why not? I'll grab them and see what happens. And even in cases like that, like let's say it's older games, like Super Nintendo or NES, I'm more often than not gonna do that unless it's like something complete in box. Like, I have some complete in box NES games that I got complete, and because I have the box and the instructions and everything like that, and it looks really, really nice, and I love having that box art, regardless of what kind of game it was, I got a good deal on it, so I wanted to collect it. I want to have it on my shelf. I don't necessarily have a lot of emotional attachment to those games, but because I know that I'm getting something complete and something that I'm going to enjoy seeing up on my shelf, I'll pick it up for that reason. More often than not, though, I do have a reason to collect the games that I get, and I have every intention of playing all of them at some point. I have every intention of doing it. That doesn't mean it's going to happen just because there's so damn many. And I tend to, over the years, I have kind of got to a point where when I start a game, I want to finish it. I want to get to the end. Unless it's like, a non-story focused game or something like that, where it's just something, where you just go in and you just play and just have fun, like a Madden title or something like that. But I tend to just focus on, for the most part, the ones that mean something to me, and that's the case. that's not, again, to say, like, if I go out and I see, like, I go to a garage sale and I see some super rare game, complete or not, if I know it's rare, if I know it's valuable or something like that, and somebody's just trying to get rid of it and they're like $10 and I'm all over it 100%. Why wouldn't I be? I always find it fascinating, especially like when I see other YouTube channels and stuff where people like pay like, you know, full eBay prices for like games that they don't have any history with, or like just because they know they're valuable. I don't know if they're looking at it as like an investment or something like that. You know, I mean, it's fine. That's what you want to do. It's your money. By all means, go for it. I don't have that kind of cash anyway. But even if I did, I don't know that I would do that. Adrian and I have talked 1,000 times about, like, one of the funnest parts about collecting is when you find that great deal and you get a story that goes along with it. And so, like, just getting a game to have it and paying those insane prices for something that's rare that you really have no connection to, other than just, I know that other people want this and now I have it. To me, I hate this term because I don't want to like make it sound like I'm talking down to anybody else or anything like that, but for me it kind of cheapens the experience a little bit. Again, if that's your thing, if that's what you want to do, you have at it. By all means, go for it. Because, you know, again, it's your money. I'm always curious as to hear people's reasoning as to why they collect, why they get into the games. And nowadays, like, quite frankly, you know, I've talked to quite a few people on my in my comment section on the past few videos. One of the things that's come up quite a bit is digital, and just going flat out digital, especially after the recent conversation Adrian and I had on the last episode of Pixel Perspective. It's looking like more people are leaning towards just going digital because it's easier, it's a matter of convenience. But again, and this is going to be a whole separate video that I would love to talk about and that I do plan on talking about eventually, preserving those older games is going to be tougher, and being able to play those because nobody's releasing them, you know, digitally or, you know, physical re-releases, limited run, that kind of thing. But I mean, I understand why they wouldn't release it physically. I'm not asking them to come out with like a revamped, super rare game that was on NES, and just like put it out there for like what's that, Panic Restaurant. I'm not asking them to remake Panic Restaurant, put it in a box and reshelf it. But I would love to be able to play it at some point. And so if they could put something like that on their platform, like the Switch is just such a great system for that kind of stuff. And again, I'm totally getting off track because that is a whole separate video. But as far as like collecting and stuff like that, that's another reason that people might want to collect, is because they don't have any other way of playing these games. And at that point, is it really collecting? Because in some cases, I imagine those people are like, I just want to play this, so I'm going to get it and I'm going to resell it. Again, the investment thing. Buying a game and just holding on to it because you think the market's going to increase. And let me just say, first of all, if you are buying video games because you are looking at them as like a retirement or some kind of like long-term investment or something like that, I mean, again, it's your money, but I don't know that video games are ever going to be that valuable to where you're going to be looking at that as like being a viable thing. I could be totally wrong. Who knows? Maybe the market will just shoot up like crazy and eventually we'll see, this stuff just skyrocket and this stuff will be worth millions. I have no idea. But just the way things look now and the way they have, especially if they do release a lot of this stuff digitally, because then you're going to be basically just looking for other collectors and that's it. Right now you still have people who want to play these games and can't get them any other way, so they pay those prices. So I don't know. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Why do you collect if you do, and if you don't, thanks for watching, I guess. But I mean, what are your thoughts on collecting and why people would do that? I think it's, for me, there's no way that I would just pay full price for a game that I have no connection to, that I don't have any interest in playing, that I anything like that. Just because it's rare or because I think it's going to be valuable one day. I won't do that. It's very, very situational. So I'm curious as to what other people think, and if you are one of those people who just wants to build their collection, just have as many games as possible, you're willing to pay whatever price because you can afford it, and you're able to do that. What drives you, and like what do you what's your opinion on like when you do find it like at a cheaper price? Like if I were to go online, let's say I went on eBay tomorrow and I bought Panzer Dragoon Saga and I got it for $600, and I got it, picked it up, and was like, man, $600, but I got this game because it's super rare, and whatever. Then 2 days later, I'm doing some garage sailing and I'm walking around and I see somebody's got it in their driveway for, $8 or something like that. Wouldn't that just break your heart? Like, I'd buy it again, 100%, and I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go get my money back on the other one. But still, doesn't that to me seems like a much better story, and like being like, dude, I got an amazing find, rather than just, I went online and I found it and I bought it there. And that was it. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I love, obviously, talking my own ear off, and I love putting stories behind everything. So clearly, you know where I stand. So, but I'm curious as to what you guys think. What are your thoughts on collecting, and why? Why do you do it if you do? And if you don't, what are your thoughts on other people and why they collect it? Do you think I'm nuts for collecting this stuff and having so many games? And my collection doesn't hold a candle to a lot of other people's, but I am happy with my collection because when you see me do my collection videos on the channel, I go through it game by game, and more often than not, there are plenty of games that I haven't played yet, but that I thought looked interesting, and games that I want to play, but I picked up because I got them for a good deal. But most of the stuff that I own has memories attached to it, has some sort of a meaning to me, even if it was like I made that whole video of the game store that closed that I got a great deal on, where I got a whole bunch of stuff, like Gunnack was in there, and I've never played most of those games, but the fact that there's such a cool story behind how I got them, and how my old boss reached out to me on Facebook and said, hey, if you're still looking to get games, I know a guy who blah blah blah, and we messages back and forth. It was just so much fun, and I love telling that story and having that memory associated with this pile of games that I got. It was great, because you'll always take more games no matter what, but I think how you get them is just as important as getting them, in my opinion. Does that make sense? So, anyway, thank you for watching. I've rambled on for quite a long time, as is usually the case. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell me your thoughts. What do you think? And as always, keep on gaming.